All right. Well, thank you all for just popping in the chat and saying hello. What we're going to do is our good friend Mallory from the Hub office is going to go through just some of the typical financial aid information. She's going to walk us through what it looks like, what to expect. And then if you have any specific questions at the end, she'll have some time for those. And then I'm going to ask some questions that are some frequently asked questions that you may not think about. But without further ado, please take us away, Mallory.
All right, thank you so much. Again, I'm Mallory. I am a student services manager with the WVU Hub. So there we go. Let's start off with what is the WVU Hub. We are your connection to student accounts and billing, financial aid, including scholarships, federal work study employment, registrar and academic records, which includes transcripts, enrollment verification, and pre-registration priority time tickets. Do keep in mind that if you have questions about your degree progress or your registration requirements, that those do need to be addressed through your academic advisor. We are not permitted to answer questions regarding those types of things. So how will you hear from us? Mainly through email. We will send important emails to your Mix email account. So you'll need to make sure to please pay attention to notifications from the WVU Hub. We will send notifications regarding your financial aid, bill due dates, scholarships, student employment opportunities. So anything that we send to you, please make sure that you open those emails. They're always sent to your mixed email account. We don't send emails to your personal email or any sort of parent email account. And please check your mixed email regularly via the WVU portal or set up mixed access on your mobile device. So there are several different ways that you can contact our office. You can request online assistance, which is our email equivalent. You submit a ticket to our office. You can call us. We offer virtual appointments through Zoom and also in-person assistance by appointment. And you can visit hub.wvu.edu/contact for more information on all of the methods that are available. So next we'll move on to how you access your information. So everything is going to be available for you as a student through portal.wvu.edu. Star, so this button here is the system where you can view your student records, add or drop courses, access your transcripts, and more. The financial aid information button, which is right next to it here, is where you can review your financial aid offers, review financial aid eligibility criteria, including renewal and financial aid holds. You can also access your WVU My account by this yellow button that says Pay Your Bill Here on the side of the screen. There you can view your billing details. You can access your official on-demand statements. You can make payments. You can also authorize parents or guests to view charges or make online payments. And for additional tutorials on how to use the site and how to set up the authorized users, you can go to studentaccounts.wvu.edu/tutorials. So this is what the WVU My account is going to look like whenever you click on that pay your bill here button. So if you click on the My account button at the top, it's going to show you your account activity, and then there's going to be specific semesters listed. And there's going to be a caret next to the semester. So if you wanted to view the details of the spring 2022 semester, you're going to click on that caret. You can see any estimated financial aid at the top. Now, in this case, the estimated financial aid is actually a payment plan that a student has set up, though that will be changing starting with the summer term. We're no longer going to be using CashNet payment plans, so those are going to show differently on your bill. So if we go down further, you can see that the charges are listed for the student for the semester. You can see the credits from the loans that they've accepted as well as the payments that they've already made through their payment plan listed. So it also lists the total charges of $14,079. The total credits to the account so far, $4,933.40. And then that they have a remaining term balance of $8,845.60. But again, because they have that payment plan set up, their total term balance, including estimated financial aid, is zero, because as long as they remain current on that payment plan, they're not going to have anything due at the end of the semester, as long as they don't have any additional charges added to their account for like library fines or anything like that. ID charges, stuff like that. So how can parents or guests access your information? There are student privacy regulations. It's called FERPA, or the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act of 1974. It protects the student's privacy of education records, such as financial aid, billing details, schedule details, grades, etc. We cannot release protected information to parents or guests unless the student grants them access to that information. We are permitted to give out directory information. It is public and may be disclosed at WVU's discretion without explicit permission. But students can also choose to withhold the directory information. Some examples of that would be like the degree that you earned, your dates of attendance. Sometimes we have employers call for that information. So that is something that we would potentially give out as directory information. But for more information on all of the FERPA guidelines, you can go to ferpa.wvu.edu. So there are two separate accesses that you would have to set up a guest for in order for them to be able to review all of the details on your account. The first is proxy access through the parent guest portal, which gives them access to your STAR account. This allows parents and guests to view your financial aid information and academic records via their own login. It also allows parents and guests to discuss protected information with the WVU Hub and other offices upon confirming their passphrase. With the exception of your GPA, we will never discuss GPA over the phone. And you can revoke permission that you've granted to someone at any time. And for more information on this, you can visit parent-guest.portal.wvu.edu. You can also set up the authorized user access in the WVU My account. This allows parents and guests to view your billing details and make online payments. But again, remember that we cannot discuss billing details without the proxy access. So if you want us to be able to discuss everything, you do have to grant that proxy access as well. But for more information on setting up that authorized user access, you can go to studentaccounts.wvu.edu/tutorials. So to set up proxy access for Instar, there are a few must-haves. So if you want more than one person to be able to discuss your account, you have to set up proxy for each person. In order for us to discuss the details, you do have to include the passphrase. It does have to have a valid end date. And you also have to go to the authorizations tab and mark the indicators on what we're permitted to speak with the person about and what they'll be permitted to see within the system. To set up an authorized user in the WVU My account, you're going to click on the authorized users option on the right-hand side of the page. There's two questions that you'll have to answer on what you want them to have access to do. You have to provide an email address for them, and then it will send them two emails, one including a link to the site and one including a temporary password to log in for the first time. And then after that, they are set up as the authorized user. So now we'll go ahead and move on to the financial aid overview. So financial aid is any financial resource to help lower the cost for post-secondary education. There are several aid sources that include federal, state, the school, which includes institutional and departmental, as well as private aid sources. So the different types of financial aid are grants, scholarships, work study employment, loans, and other resources like, graduate waivers, things like that. So for graduate students, you do have limited financial aid eligibility. Other than federal work study, graduate students are not eligible for need-based federal aid such as the Pell Grant and federal subsidized loan. WVU does not currently award institutional scholarships to graduate students. Students who enroll in certain majors related to teaching and education could be eligible for the federal Teach Grant. There is an additional application that's required that's available through our website to apply for the Teach Grant. Common financial assistance for graduate students would include the federal unsubsidized loan, the federal graduate plus loan, graduate assistant tuition waivers, and external sources such as scholarships, sponsorships, private loans, things of that nature. So, is your financial aid guaranteed every year? There's many factors to consider. So there are application requirements. You do have to submit the FAFSA and applications for scholarships each year. There are academic requirements for renewal, such as satisfactory academic progress or SAP. Which we'll go over here in a little bit. And different types of aid have different academic requirements. So make sure that you're familiar if you have like a private scholarship that will renew, what that you are required to do. There are enrollment requirements for federal financial aid, and there are aid usage limits. So for example, the unsubsidized loan has an annual limit of $20,500 for the academic year, which includes fall, spring, and summer. And you can receive the $20,500 up to your cost of attendance. After that, you know, so if you use the full amount of the unsubsidized loan between the fall and spring semester, there's nothing additional that we would be able to offer to you for the summer term. And then there is an aggregate limit for the maximum amount that you're permitted to borrow between the subsidized and unsubsidized loan. And this would include anything that you have borrowed for your undergraduate degree as well. The limit is $138,500. So do keep that in mind, and you can view your loan usage through your studentaid.gov account. So let's start with the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA. You do have to submit a FAFSA every year for all federal aid and most state aid. The FAFSA opened on October 1st, 2022 for the 2023-24 academic year. If you will be attending the summer term, you will need to submit a 2022-23 FAFSA. You can complete the FAFSA at studentaid.gov. The 23-24 FAFSA requires 2021 tax information. Parent information is not required for graduate students. If you are attending summer, you'll need your 2020 tax information. The priority deadline is March 1st, 2023 for the 2023-24 FAFSA, but the sooner you submit, the better. And then if you do need to apply for additional assistance and you decide to apply for the federal graduate plus loan, for the summer 2023, you would use the 2022-23 plus loan application. For the fall 23 and spring 24, you would use the 2023-24 plus loan application, but that's not going to be available until April or May of this year. So, you know, you wouldn't be able to do that just yet. One other thing that I do want to hit on there, if you apply for a full year loan, that would only cover at the beginning of the fall semester, that would only cover fall and spring. You do have to apply separately for summer. So let's move on to satisfactory academic progress requirements, or SAP. So you must maintain satisfactory academic progress requirements in order to keep your federal and state aid for future academic years. For most graduate students, this means maintaining a minimum overall GPA of at least 2.75 and completing or earning at least 66.67% of the hours that you attempt. So withdrawing from classes after the add drop period, receiving an incomplete, and failing classes all have a negative impact on this percentage. And you must also complete your degree within 150% of the required hours. So what that means is if your program requires 36 hours to complete your degree, you have to obtain your degree within 54 attempted hours, or 36 times 1.5. So let's look at an example of a completion rate. So this particular student in the fall semester attempted 12 credit hours. They withdrew from 2 classes, so they only earned 6 of the 12 hours. They do have a semester GPA of 4.0. So at the end of the fall semester, they have a 50% completion rate. However, in the spring, they attempt 4 classes for 12 hours and also earn 12 hours for a completion rate of 100%. So they would have an overall completion rate for the academic year of 75%, and we wouldn't check the completion rate until after the spring semester. So again, like I just said, SAP is reviewed at the end of each spring semester. You will be notified via your mix email if you're not maintaining SAP requirements. Information on how to appeal will be included in the notifications. To increase your chances of approval, you must have extenuating circumstances beyond your control that impacted your ability to succeed. You must provide third-party documentation to support the circumstances, and you must develop an academic success plan with your advisor showing the courses that you will take to come into compliance within 3 semesters. You can view your SAP status in the financial aid information section of the WVU portal. And you can also view your SAP status in DegreeWorks. So let's move on to enrollment requirements. To be eligible for federal financial aid, a student must be enrolled in an aid-eligible school, in an aid-eligible program, and meet the enrollment standard required by each type of aid. So for example, the federal loans do require that you're enrolled at least half-time, and that's different depending on the time of the year. So in the fall and spring semesters, if you're in 9 or more credit hours, you're considered full-time. 6 to 8 credit hours is considered 3/4 time. 5 credit hours is considered half-time, and 1 to 4 credit hours is considered less than half-time. In the summer, because the courses are more condensed, to be considered full-time, you have to be in 6 or more credit hours. Or 3/4 time would be 4 to 5 credit hours. Half-time is 3 credit hours, and less than half-time is 1 to 2 credit hours. So, again, for the federal loans, you do have to be enrolled half-time. So in the fall and spring, you would have to be enrolled in 5 credit hours. In the summer, you would have to be enrolled in 3 credit hours. So another thing to take into consideration is that for private and external aid, all credit hours can be used to determine your enrollment status, but for the federal unsubsidized loan and the graduate plus loan, only courses that are eligible for federal aid can be used in determining the enrollment status. So the courses that you take to be eligible for federal aid have to be required for your degree completion. And the courses also must meet repeated coursework standards. So we as an institution follow the course program of study because the federal government requires us to do that. Now, here's an example as far as the course program of study is concerned. So let's say that you are enrolled in 2 courses for 5 credit hours. So technically you would be enrolled half-time, but the English course that you're enrolled in is required for your degree, and the history course that you're enrolled in is not required for your degree. So when we're looking for federal aid purposes, you would only be enrolled in 2 eligible credit hours, which would be less than half-time enrollment. So you would not be eligible to take federal loans. And this would be for the fall and spring or summer. So Each aid program does have its own specific enrollment requirements for aid to disperse as payment on a student's account. For more information, you can check that website there. Your enrollment status could also impact your maximum financial aid eligibility. Financial aid can be canceled or reduced due to enrollment status change before a semester starts, during the semester, or after grades have posted. So, for example, if you are in 2 classes, but one starts in the second 8 weeks, and you drop that second 8 weeks class, and you have a federal loan, if you don't pick up another class, we would have to reduce or cancel that federal loan in the fall or spring semester because you would be falling below the enrollment requirement to keep the loan. Other things that can affect that are if you are an unofficial withdrawal, which means that you would not pass any of the courses in the semester. So canceled or reduced financial aid could result in an outstanding balance due to lack of aid payment towards your charges or the need to return a previously issued refund granted by financial aid. So let's move on to student accounts and billing. So how are tuition and fees assessed for graduate students in online programs? You can view the rates for the tuition and fees at tuition.wvu.edu/graduate/Morgantown-online. Keep in mind that online graduate programs are uncapped. So that means that if you take 12 credit hours, you will be billed for the 12 credit hours that you take during the semester. When do charges usually become available for each semester? So for fall, the charges will become available in July. And for spring, they become available in late November. And for summer, the charges will be available in April. How do I know if I have a balance that I need to pay? You're going to need to check your WVU My Account billing system. We also send billing notifications to your mixed email at the beginning of each month. And you'll always want to check your account at least once a month to catch any new charges that have been assessed to the account. When are my charges due? Check your billing notification and make sure that charges are covered by the first day of the upcoming month. And if you don't pay by the due date, any past due balance of 1 penny to $199.99 would cause a hold that would prevent you from ordering your transcript. Any past due balance of $200 or more will cause that same transcript hold, a registration hold, and we do assess late fees of 2.85% of the balance that's due on the account. And there are eventual consequences of past due balances that can include losing your eCampus access, removal from classes, and in some cases, your account could be sent to collections if it's been delinquent for long enough. So available payment options would be financial aid. Now, please ensure that all requirements are met for aid to disperse. So for federal loans, you're also going to be required to complete a master promissory note. And for the unsubsidized loan, you would also have to have entrance counseling on file completed through studentaid.gov. Another payment option would be third-party sponsorship. So make sure authorization documents from your sponsor have been received by WV the third-party billing department before the due date. External tuition assistance, scholarships, and payments, they all have to be received by the due date. You can also use a tuition payment plan to break a semester's charges into smaller installments rather than paying in full all at once, or you can pay in full. You can make the online payments through your WVU My account. There's no processing fee for an e-check, but there is a 2.85% processing fee for any credit card payments that are made. And you can also mail in check payments to the WVU hub. But again, those must be received by the bill due date to avoid late fee assessments and holds. So let's go over a few additional frequently asked questions. So what are consequences when the application or FAFSA is not done on time? Your financial aid may be delayed, but it would not postpone the due date of your charges, and you may lose certain financial aid eligibility. So for example, if you were interested in federal work study, you should try to have your FAFSA submitted by the March 1st priority deadline. Will you get less aid if you are a graduate student versus an undergraduate student? Are there scholarship opportunities for graduate students? While not eligible for most federal grants or WVU scholarships, graduate students have a much higher annual limit for the federal unsubsidized loan. And graduate students also have the option of applying for the federal parent plus or the federal graduate plus loan. I apologize. You can check for additional options through the Office of Graduate Education and Life. And we also recommend that you apply through scholarship search engines for external scholarships to assist. How does financial aid work? So you need to submit your FAFSA and or other applications and accept available financial aid you would like to use. You'll need to make sure that all of the financial aid requirements are satisfied. Accepted or approved financial aid will disperse or pay out approximately 10 days prior to the start of the semester or the start of your classes if you're beginning mid-semester. Dispersed financial aid will apply to WVU charges, your billable direct costs, and then if your financial aid is in excess of your WVU charges, we would issue a refund to assist with non-billable or indirect costs. So some frequently asked questions for billing. So for tuition reimbursement through employers, they often ask for certain documentation in order to receive the reimbursement. And are there tips for how to better prepare for that? The on-demand statement obtained through your WVU My account is an official bill. It is available as soon as charges are assessed for the semester. We cannot manipulate what is provided through your WVU My account or manually create you a bill for the semester per request. If they also require the cost per credit hour, you can provide a copy of the tuition and fee schedule that's available at the listed website. And then for the cost per class, you can provide your on-demand statement, a copy of the tuition and fee schedule, and a copy of your course schedule showing the credit hours that you're taking. What types of payment plans are available? We are currently transitioning to a new payment plan that will be offered through the WVU My account. So please monitor our website for additional information at studentaccounts.wvu.edu/payment/tuition-payment-plan for more information, as we are currently finalizing those details. So for the summer term, the deadlines that we anticipate will be available to enroll, I've listed here, as well as for the fall and the spring semester. Please note that these are currently subject to change. So for the summer term, if you wanted to enroll in a 3-month plan, you have to enroll by April 23rd. The 2-month plan, you have to enroll by May 23rd. And then for fall and spring, we'll offer 5-month plans. The 5-month plan for fall will start in July, 4-month in August, and 3-month in September. And then for the spring, it's December, January, and February. And that is all I have. So I do want to go ahead and open up for any questions that you all have.
One more minute. I do get questions about
Sure.
payment plans a good bit, so I want to make sure I have the correct information.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, these dates right now are subject to change because we are currently in the process of transitioning. So this is what we anticipate this to look like.
Okay. Fantastic. Awesome. So does anybody have specific questions for Malory based around your specific need, or maybe some additional questions about financial aid or how it works? Feel free to unmute or pop in the chat, whatever is easiest for you.
I was just curious what you meant by the capping. So the if you take 12, you get charged all to 12 kind of thing.
Right. So, for the online graduate programs, there is no cap for tuition and fees. So, for example, if you take 6 credit hours, you'll be charged for 6 credit hours. If you take 12 credit hours in a semester, you'll be charged for all 12 credit hours, 15 credit hours, etc. So, no matter how many credit hours you take in the online graduate programs, you're assessed tuition and fees per credit hour up to the number of credit hours that you take. Whereas some like in-person programs, we would cap at 9 credit hours being considered full-time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different tuition model, I guess you would say. With online, you are charged per course. With our program, it's per course instead of like a certain range for part-time versus full-time. Oh, we did have one pop in the chat. Is tuition reimbursement from a job considered sponsorship?
So the answer to that question, I guess, is it can be. So your employer can set up a sponsorship with WVU, but if you handle the tuition reimbursement on your end, then no, it would not be considered a sponsorship.
At times, when the students have reimbursement from their employers, what they will do is they'll apply for federal financial aid to pay for the initial cost, and then they will pay it back directly after they pay for the schooling. So it just kind of depends on how your employers want to do it. Sometimes they will pay for it upfront. Other times they want to see the completion and the grade, and then they reimburse you afterwards.
And if you don't want to do the federal aid, of course, you always have the option for the payment plan as well.
Yes. Sorry, I should have
Oh,
mentioned.
no. I just wanted to throw that in.
So I just want to reiterate the summer aid options as well, because we do get those questions a lot. Since we only have one term in our summer terms or summer semester, a lot of questions around the full-time versus part-time. Malory did a great job of breaking that down. So with our credits, if you do 6 credits in the summer, which is the 2 courses, that's when you're considered full-time. So if you just want to take 1 course in the summertime, then you would be considered part-time through both financial aid wise and through our program. So I know that's a little bit different than like a traditional semester, but you would be considered part-time with just 1 course. I think that's one of our most frequently asked questions coming up to a summer semester.
Yeah, and in just the 3 credit hours, just to reiterate, you are eligible for the federal loans in the summer term. Now, again, in the fall and spring, it's 5 credit hours.
Mhm.
Yes, the 6-month payment plan will be gone for good.
And for summer term, you have the 3-month and 2-month option, and then fall and spring, there's 5, 4, and 3-month options.
That's correct.
Awesome. So one other frequently asked question that we get is scholarships for grad students. I know it says a little bit more based on external sources and some third-party options, but is there anything that you all suggest, or like a certain website that's more popular than others for those scholarship opportunities?
So we have several trusted search engines listed on our website. Those would be the ones that I would recommend that you go through. So if you go to scholarships.wvu.edu, give me just a second. I just want to follow through. So click on the external or private scholarships option, and then click on the hyperlink that says private scholarships. If you scroll down a little ways, you'll find a section called scholarship search engines, and there's about 15 that are listed there, where those are trusted ones that we've vetted, where you can go to apply for those external opportunities. I would also recommend checking with your employer to see if they have any sort of employee scholarship that they offer. Some do, some don't. Another good resource for external scholarships would be a local community foundation. Make sure that you check in with a place like that because they are usually able to offer students external scholarships as well.
Awesome. All right. And then what about grants for graduate students? Are there any grants available?
Unfortunately, no federal grants are available for graduate students, no.
Okay. Right. Any other questions at all? I know this website, I just dropped the external scholarships link into the chat for everyone. That's a great resource to have, especially if you're trying to find additional options. So the earlier you get started, the better. I think that's my biggest word of advice.
Absolutely, yes. The sooner you do everything, the better, so that everything is in place by the build deadlines.
Yes. Do we have the specific billing deadlines, or are those posted anywhere? I guess I should ask.
They are posted on our website per semester, but I can give you a general idea of when the bills are typically due. So for the fall semester, the bill is almost always due on August 1st. For the spring semester, it's always the first working holiday after New Year's. So for example, this year it was January 3rd, because we were off on the 2nd in observance of the holiday. And then for the summer term, the bill is due on May 1st. Now, of course, it's dependent on when you register as well. So like, for example, if you attended the spring semester and you didn't register for your classes until January 3rd, which was the bill deadline, your deadline would have been February 1st.
Okay. Great. All right. Any other questions from the attendees?
Is a plus line just a higher payout amount, or kind of like what's the difference just from going to undergrad and what it means to graduate?
Sure. So the Graduate Plus loan is a credit-based loan that's available to apply for through the federal program. It does typically carry a higher interest rate than the unsubsidized loan, and it also has a higher origination fee that's deducted before it will pay to your account. It does have a fixed interest rate like the unsubsidized loan does as well. There is also an origination fee that's deducted from the unsubsidized loan, but it's lower than what it would be from the plus loan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great questions.
And Eric just
Oh,
posted another link in the chat to understand the Graduate Plus loan a little better as well, so that you can get additional details.
yes. Thank you so much for that, Eric. All right. Any other questions at all?
One thing I guess that I'll add, just as a kind of side note, you don't have to apply for the Graduate Plus loan if you need to take additional loans. You can also seek private loans. But keep in mind with private loans that those are going to have variable or fixed interest rates. So just make sure that if you do decide to go with a private loan, that you're careful about what you're applying for and the terms and conditions of the loan as well.
All right. Well, oh, the link has an error. Is that for the Plus Loan link? I was able to pull it up.
Yeah, they both worked for me as well.
Brandon, I might suggest trying just copying. Oh, good. All right, great. Okay. All right, well, if there are no other questions, I'll go ahead and give you all some time back, but thank you all so much for attending and interacting. And once again, thank you so much for our friends from the Student Hub. It's always wonderful to be able to help our students and have these extra resources. So thank you all so much again, and have a great day.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.